FIA WTCC is delivered by DHL. Yokohama, your tire.
So here we are, the final race weekend of the FIA World Touring Car Championship for 2013. Rounds 23 and 24, the traditional season finale on the stunning street circuit of Macau. This Chinese principality has been a happy hunting ground in the past for five-time race winner Rob Huff. Can he do it again? Well, Ivan Muller starts on pole for race one, but already there is drama all the way through the weekend. Well, hello everybody, good afternoon. Welcome to the street circuit here at Macau. Cars already on the grid. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me, British touring car champion Matt Neal. And Matt, the drama is not exclusively confined to when cars are on track, because Gabriele Tarquini, who is looking to be runner-up in the championship, has had a massive problem this morning.
Yeah, breaking news this morning, Martin, is Tarquini has to have an engine change. One of the in the morning warm-up, he had a bit of a drama, and one of the spark plugs detached itself into the cylinder head, and so they were trying to retrieve it, trying to save the engine, because obviously by changing an engine that incurs grid penalties. They haven't been able to do that, so at the last minute they're whisking the engine out, but it looks like he's not going to be able to make race one. And then the penalty he gets for the engine change, he will have to take in grid two. For race two, so this is going to have a massive repercussions in the fight for second in the championship.
And the reason they can't just take the cylinder head off and retrieve the bit of broken spark plug is that's the equivalent to changing the engine anyway. So there is no engine currently in Gabriele Tarquini's car. It is in the Castrol Honda garage in bits, but there is no engine in it, as Matt says, because the grid had already been declared before the team applied for permission, which you have to change the engine. The penalty is applied for race two. So race one, he is unlikely to start, certainly won't be ready to start for the beginning of it. And in race two, if he does start, he will be 33rd and last. Now, what's the relevance of that? Well, he is second in the championship at the moment, 22 points ahead of Tom Chilton, who's third, 29 ahead of James Nash, who is fourth. They could possibly overhaul him for that runner-up spot. He's powerless to defend. Marc Basseng then, you see in his Seat rather, lines up in 10th place on the grid, made it through into Q2. I beg your pardon, 11th place on the grid, make it through into Q2 with his final qualifying run, and that's a great move from him, really getting on top of this car, first time ever in Macau. Tough place to learn the track and to try and get the best out of a car.
Yeah, Martin, it was a great effort, but I mean, it was a rotten luck, because it just means he misses out on the reverse grid and everything, so he's going to be starting back in 11th for both races today, which, I mean, in 11th, you're in the middle of the danger zone.
Well, Tom Coronel, his final race weekend with his baby. For the last 3 years, he's been racing Royal Motorsport BMWs. This car is now going to be consigned either to a scrapyard if it doesn't go well, or to a museum if it does. Either way, he starts 10th for race one, and as you say, the reverse grid situation means that he will start on pole for race two. James Thompson, 9th for race one in the Lada, and he says against 3 factory Hondas and 6 Chevrolets, 9th is a good result for anybody. And the weakest point for the Honda, he said, for the Lada, he says, is in sector 1, which is the fast first part of the circuit. He said, once we start getting in the twisty stuff, I can definitely hold my own against them. So he'll start second on the grid behind or alongside Tom Coronel.
Get in their way?
No, he won't be in their way. No, definitely. He's going to try and tuck in behind Coronel and avoid getting slipstreamed by all the other Chevys into the hairpin for the first lap in race two. In front of them, on the race 1 grid, though. In 8th position, James Nash. And in 7th position, Tom Chilton. Now, Nash is going to try and score points in 2 championships. He leads the Yokohama Trophy. That's the trophy for independent team drivers. And he needs 2 points this weekend to put it out of the reach of his teammate, who is his only realistic rival. Tom Chilton, his teammate from last year, lies 3rd in the overall championship, and after clattering the wall in free practice, had a problem getting the car out in time to really make the most of qualifying. He'll start 7th on the grid here, and he needs 23 points in total from the weekend to make it an RML Chevrolet driver 1-2 in the championship. Matt, with 25 for a win, that means he's got a lot of work to do. He must finish on the podium realistically in both races.
Yeah, it's a tough ask for Tom, but I mean, if he was going to be gifted an opportunity to finish 2nd in the championship, he couldn't have wished for a better start to the weekend.
Well, it's an open goal, but he's got a lot of defenders to get through first. Let's put it that way.
That's a good way of putting it.
Alex McDowell trying to overhaul his Bamboo Engineering teammate James Nash for that Yokohama Trophy title again. He's got a lot of points to try and overhaul, but we've already seen with problems for Gabriele Tarquini, this is a cruel mistress, this Macau track, and fate has a habit of being a very major player here. Norbert Michelisz, 5th on the grid for the Hungarian driver, and that will put him 7th for the race 2. I can't subtract, no, 6th for the race 2. 6 for race 2. Rob Huff, 4th on the grid, and a great qualifying run from Rob Huff. Unfortunately, his string of Macau poles has finally come to an end, so he'll have to try and come again and start another bit of history next year with Lada. But at the moment, he has won as many touring car races on the streets of Macau as anybody else at 5. However, Eduardo Mortara won the GT Cup race just a short while ago, so he now has 6 individual wins on the streets of Macau. Huffy has 2 shots to equal that record, and just by freakery could possibly get a 7th win here, a 6th and a 7th. That, however, I wouldn't want to put money on it in any of the casinos here in Macau.
Not with the Flying Frenchman at the moment. I mean, Muller has been absolutely on fire all weekend, and the Chevys certainly in the groove at the moment. Yeah. So even, I mean, starting off the front, as long as he gets a good start and jumps Montero with the Honda, and keeps it out the wall, all the ifs and buts, we shouldn't see him. But it'll be really lively and it'll be good fun to watch in race 2.
Thiago Montero 2nd on the grid. We've gone straight from Huff in 4th, a row forward to Montero in 2nd, because that gap there, just over the shoulder, if you like, of Thiago Montero, is where 3rd placed Gabriele Tarquini would have been if he had an engine in the car. Montero starts 2nd. A second faster than him in qualifying, though, was Ivan Muller. I do suspect that nobody's going to see him apart from on lap 1, and after that he's going to be gone. The only thing that is likely to bring the field back towards him is a safety car situation, yellow flags, red flags, because Muller has got the pace, he's got the confidence. Man, he's got it. This is the Sebastian Vettel perfect package of World Touring Cars.
But he's had it all year, Martin. You know, I mean, Macau is no different to what we've seen off him the rest of the year, but it's pretty dominant. It's just this circuit is pretty formidable, and you know, he's come into his own on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Martin Brundle saying earlier today, this is the toughest circuit on the planet. I have to say, there's not an awful lot of drivers that have raced here that would disagree, especially in the motorcycle race. There's some stunning stories through that. So there are the top 10. They will be positions reversed. From 11th and 12th, Bassang and Boardman on down. These positions are locked in for both races. The only thing that can happen is that you can go backwards from these positions. So that is the grid. It is being cleared at the moment. Cars are getting ready now to head away on the final formation lap here in Macau.
Yokohama, your tire.
Well, the Bentley safety car here for the 60th Macau Grand Prix, the leading car that brings the field round. That's quite a step up from some of the safety cars we've had over the years. It is Yvonne Muller who leads the parade, and Gabriele Tarquini who will be an interested spectator. There is the engine that was damaged in the warm-up, and going into the car is its replacement. The replacement that keeps him out of race 1, and that will see him start, if at all, stone last on the race 2 grid. Team boss Alessandro Mariani could hardly have wished for a worse introduction to Macau with the Castrol Honda cars. Of course, they did come last year with a single entry for Thiago Monteiro, and that's pretty heartbreaking to get through qualifying unscathed and then have a spark plug drop into the engine in morning warm-up. Matt Neal, that's pretty tough.
It is. I would imagine the two Hondas left, so you've got Monteiro and Michelit's both, will have two quite different remits. You know, Monteiro's obviously got to try and go and win the race to start with. And if he can't do that, then I would imagine it's going to be trying to keep Chilton and Nash back to keep as many points out of the pockets as they can.
Well, for Chilton and Nash, they really both need to be right on top of the podium at least once. There is the team boss at Lada. You saw James Thompson after a really good qualifying session, 9th on the grid, and Victor Shapovalov there with the shorter hair, and Marco, James's race engineer, will both be watching the start with great interest to see how Jimmy fares away from this rolling start compared to his rivals. Of course, race 2, a standing start, may not help him there either, but they'll be looking to see what it's like in the slipstream up to the first major stopping area at the Lisboa hairpin, because that is where Thompson fears that the cars behind him, which he believes to be quicker in race trim, are likely to be able to challenge, if not actually get by.
I think one of the problems, Martin, is in race 1, you know, James is obviously looking to race 2 for his big result of the day, and, you know, of the season, to try and put a good end to the season for Lada. But as we were chatting to Tom Coronel earlier, and as he said, there is always an accident at Lisboa. It just depends on the size of it. So it's getting through that in race 1.
Mikel Nukia there in the background in the black sweatshirt behind Zoltan Zengo. And
obviously
Nukia
booked his flight ticket earlier in the year.
Yeah, clearly decided to come to the party anyway. He may well end up being runner-up in the Yokohama Trophy. Yvonne Muller hurrying up the safety car there, or the leading car. The Bentley Continental now gets his hoof down. Yvonne will slow the field up. They need to go into 2x2 formation as they come down this quick modern part of the circuit off the hillside. And you'll have noticed the yellow flags out of Donna Maria Bend on the run down to the Melco hairpin. Yellow flags out to prevent overtaking in the bunch field down to a hairpin where you cannot get two cars side by side. Safety car not getting his hoof down. Clearly he does not understand the way these things work, and possibly a bit of a language barrier as well. He peels off into the pit lane. We are ready to go racing. So here we go, the red lights are on, they're racing to the line. We are ready to start round 23 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. On board with James Thompson, the lights change very quickly, and a challenge immediately from Thiago Monteiro. Contact with him and Yvonne Muller. Muller's got the fast left-hander, but if he gets his nose in front, if Monteiro could have stayed inside, the next is a very quick right-hander. Rob Huff challenging in third place. Norbert Michelitz on the inside's got McDowell and Nash. They've both got by Chilton, and he manages to keep them behind. So far, no major dramas, but Boardman weaving around in the middle of the pack. Coronel trying to fly by as well. It's going to be Muller from Monteiro. Who's going to get their braking wrong? Cold tyres, cold brakes. Oriola just about gets it sorted out. And Bassang over the curb. So far, they're all safely through, and those are the major front runners. Matt Neal, that was pretty good stuff, considering the speed they're getting down to the Lisboa hairpin. It's really absolutely at its maximum.
I was waiting, they came through Mandarin that first time. They were bobbing and weaving like Sugar Ray Leonard. I was convinced one of them was going to end up in the wall, but amazingly, they've all made it through.
Well, we've seen a few races ended there before they've even started. We've seen races ended at the ended at the first left-hand kink before you even get to Mandarin before. So if Muller, as expected, makes a good start, enough to get away from